There are tons of horror games that have similar villains or threats, but the way they display or use these threats is what is most interesting. Do You Copy is a game that takes their threat and displays it in a way that is creepy yet interesting. And if you were someone seeing this game or hearing about it for the first time, all you would really think about it is that it is a horror game, and that's about it. You see, this game doesn't show all its cards from the outside, which makes this game a lot more alluring to play and dive into. The game isn't perfect though, but it is definitely super duper impressive. I really think that the biggest problem with the game would have to be the length, and that says a lot. You see, all the other falls are really tiny, but if this game was just a bit longer than what it is now, it would be completely perfect. But yeah, let's get straight into Do You Copy? But before we do that, I just want to say be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Also, thank you so much for the support, you guys. I appreciate all of you for being so kind to my channel. All you commenters, you viewers, and you subscribers, I appreciate all of you guys so much. It really inspires me to continue YouTube and make content better for you guys, so thank you. In Do You Copy, you play as a park ranger in the Gracewind Park, and it is your job as Park Ranger 4 to take care of the park, as the ranger from the Tower 2 has left. Looking around your tower a little bit, you notice something odd in the news clippings and notes written on the walls. People have seemed to have gone missing in the very park that you work in. It all just seems like paranoia though, it just seems like somebody is making up something. But then you are mysteriously interrupted by what seems to be a lost hiker.
Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? I saw this channel listed on one of the trails out here. I need you to help me. I'm lost and something is chasing me. Please, you have to help me.
And this hiker seems petrified by someone chasing him. But rather than someone, something. It is then your job to direct the lost hiker through the paths that are marked on a bulletin board in your room. You see, this already seems like a frightening concept as it is, but this isn't what makes it creepy though. When the hiker begins to speak again, you realize that something seems off about what he's saying. The hiker seems calm and is using unusual wording in sentences.
Are you watching your link?
You realize that you're not speaking to the hiker anymore, but someone else, an entity known as the Goatman. This entity can not only mimic the lost hiker, but is also self-aware of your presence as well. This twist throws a super creepy element to the game by far, and the fact that it is done this way rather than some other way really shows how the human voice can be a super fearful element. After your first encounter with the Goatman occurs, it is then your goal to guide the hiker through the woods like before. But now you have the Goatman to deal with, who will be saying weird things and stuff to confuse you as to who you're talking to. You see, there's a multitude of endings that can occur depending on what route you take the survivor on. This concept is honestly a really cool one, and not enough people know about it. You see, but this is about everything the game has to offer, and I highly recommend that you dive through the game yourself to check it out in full. But I'm not done talking about this game though, there are still plenty of things I'd like to go over. You see, what I find interesting about this game is it's very similar in another horror genre. Now that may confuse you a little bit, and I don't blame you, it is a little confusing, but allow me to explain. You see, this game is eerily similar to other horror games with a singular threat as well. Like, you would have a number of tasks to do in order to avoid the threat from killing you. Or it could just be a singular task, or something like traveling from point A to point B, something of that. Something like similar to that, if you know what I mean. You see, I assume the creator of Do You Copy realized this and decided to make the game more unique than other titles. Instead of the player just mindlessly wandering around the forest trying to avoid the Goatman, you are in a tower, which seems safe for the time being, and it is your job to guide someone else to safety while keeping the threat away from your tower as well. You see, the different endings correspond to what route you take the guide on, like I said before. But you could end up dying and saving the survivor, or the survivor could die and you live. You see, having a multitude of endings allows the game to be played more than just once, which adds a good element to the game. Each player wonders what will happen if they lead the guy or the hiker down a different path. Also, a super cool little detail that is thrown into the game is the glowing eyes of the Goatman that can sometimes appear in the forest. You see, this is really creepy, and if you're not paying attention, you'll definitely miss this hidden detail. This is definitely one of the small details in the game that makes the game a little more creepy, along with some others as well. You see, this game may be a bit of a shorter one, but it's definitely not a horror game that should be looked at lightly. Everything that is put into this game has really good development and makes the game among my top 4 favorite horror games. But if you've never heard of Do You Copy, I highly recommend you take a look. This game definitely doesn't disappoint and brings a really creepy and enjoyable experience. You see, this game is similar to one other game, and this other game is also a really good one that if you want me to do a video on, I'll be more than happy to do that. And that game is Killer Frequency. You see, this game is also similar to Do You Copy in the sense that you're talking to people in order to save them. In that game, you are a radio host, but in this game, you are a park ranger, which I think is really cool. But each of these games definitely has a more unique thing that you're doing. Do You Copy, though, I just think is really nice because you're in what seems to be just a park ranger tower, and you're trying to guide a hiker through the woods, which is cool because where I currently live, I'm in a forest, which allows me to feel a little more like I could be in the same situation. You see, this game does that pretty well, which I think is really, really neat. This game definitely, though, has a lot of cool, tiny elements that are not seen in normal horror games. The fact that you're able to free roam is another little thing that you can do. Now, you can't go too far with the free roam, but you can just wander around your office and wander outside on the balcony, which is a nice little touch. But it's completely dependent on the things and choices you make in order to determine what ending you're going to get. About anything you could do could determine what route the survivor goes on or what has happened. For example, in the game, there is a point where you can either turn on the light that the tower has on it, you can either turn it on or leave it off. Well, if you turn it on, this could potentially lead the Goatman to you. But if you leave it off, this could guide him somewhere else, or save you and the survivor. You see, the small little stuff like this, I think, makes the game way more cool and unique. But yeah, that's about it for today's video. I know it's a bit of a shorter one, but I just want to thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know what you think of today's video down in the comments below. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay awesome, God bless, and peace.